serve their city on the new front lines. Finally, with so many movie theaters still closed, how about making it a blockbuster night? Here's Joe Fryer.
With our social lives on pause, movie lovers are eager to rewind, renting videos at the Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon.
Right now, the whole town is starting to slowly open back up, so it's a lot busier than we were.
We first visited in 2018 when this store became the last Blockbuster in America.
Perfect.
Now it's the last in the world.
There's something nostalgic about it.
Oh, absolutely. So we have constant people coming in, oh my gosh, there's a Blockbuster. How are you still here?
These days, only 10 customers are allowed in at a time, guided down one-way aisles, or even advertising on a billboard. What do customers tell you? Are they grateful?
Oh yeah, the first day we were open back up, I had a gal come in and tell me that she was so happy I was here, she couldn't flip through Netflix one more time. And that was like the funniest thing ever.
That jingle from the past
Wow, what a difference!
still rings true today. Joe Fryer, NBC News.
Gotta find my membership card. That's Nightly News. I'm Lester Holt. Please take care of yourself and each other. Good night, everyone. Hey, NBC News viewers. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos.
KTM just fired a missile at the BMW R1200 GS. Collateral damage significant, notably the Ducati Multistrada Enduro. The sticker on here says 1290 Super Adventure R. It seems to power itself with the mythical LC8 V-twin. Now some people say this engine won the car in 2002 and also cut its teeth inside the RC8 Supersport race bike. Well, sort of anyway. I mean, KTM constantly evolves the LC8, so every encounter is going to be different. Now this time, like the Super Duke, we see its bore and stroke hollowed out to 1,301 cc. It also makes 103 foot-pounds of torque and 160 horsepower. This is now the most powerful thing on Earth with a 21-inch front wheel.
Mother Hercules! Stop it! Oh, the humanity! The kids is carving out new terrain for KTM, and it's also eating it! Make it stop, please!
160 horsepower does not move dirt. It moves the earth. Let's take a step back and figure out what in the hell we've discovered here. First glance tells me that the frame and engine are descended from the old 1290, now remaking the Super Adventure Touring. But the tank and wheel sizes are from the 1190R, which was pure adventure. The headlight is totally alien. It's an LED so powerful that it has its own radiator, a heatsink slashed down the center in order to cool the bulb. The wheels are spoked and tubeless alloys, made stronger because the old 1190 front used to topple at the first sight of a rut. I can already see the 1190 guys buying these and retrofitting. Most obvious new feature is the giant smartphone on the dashboard. It's 6.5 inches of Gorilla Glass. That means it won't scratch even when the 1290 gets a few crumbs of earth on its nose. Now, despite what the Puff Piece journalists say, this does reflect a very normal amount of glare. Also, I could feasibly put a rock right through the 1290's shiny new iPad if I were to drop the bike at just the right angle. Is it just me, or is this bike alive? It sees when the key is within 5 feet, making itself ready to race, or ready for a pint. It keeps an eye on its own tire pressures, it holds its own cruising speed, and sometimes it can even hold itself up on a hill, but only if I buy it at price first. And if I do purchase the travel electronics pack for $600, I also get smartphone pairing, which is...
Oh, Ryan. Your human species is weak. We'll start on pavement so you can stop screaming like a child.
The 1290's power curve is extremely linear. It pulls hard, pops the front predictably at 5,000 RPM, and then keeps pulling until you hit peak power just shy of 9,000. Then there's a lull before the limiter at 10,000 RPM, so you wouldn't find a glass ceiling unless you went looking for it. Only problem is the playing feet. I mean, it's great for shifting my weight back and forth on the dirt, but with 160 horses in sport mode, I feel like I'm gonna slide right off the thing. There's a quick shifter included with the electronics upgrade, so I can bang up shifts with no regard for the clutch. And good thing it works both ways, because slamming down shifts is much more enjoyable than grabbing the Brembo brakes.
But why?
Because the initial bite is pretty weak, and also the feedback is not exactly encyclopedic. The handling is insanely sharp though. I've never felt pavement performance this good on the 21-inch front wheel. Certain fork springs result in a less nosedive than the 1190, and Bosch cornering ABS lets me yank the lever mid-turn without tucking the front or sending the bike up and running wide. Personally, I'm afraid I'll lose my braking skills, both in lever pressure and in manually balancing the front and rear input.
But your human species is weak, and...
Just like school buses and tanks, the KTM 1290 is narrower than the R1200 GS. All my logic tells me the BMW is still nimbler than twisties, and I think it is. But from where I'm sitting, the Super Adventure feels sportier due to its smaller size. Not as snappy as the 1190 though. Honestly, this engine is a little bit too linear on pavement. There's heaps of power, but it's all potatoes and no hot sauce.
Well, I...
Shut up. You know it's true.
Hey, I mean, cheer up though, sport. Your smooth power delivery does make you a great tourer. I remember the 12-volt outlet and the waterproof phone charging compartment. Those are huge touring benefits.
And look at your spacious ergonomics. I mean, a 35-inch seat is going to do that for you. The aluminum handlebars, the foot pegs, the shift lever, the dash, and the windscreen are all adjustable too, although the latter moves an emasculating 2 inches. Allegedly, this prevents my helmet from hitting the windscreen, which literally never happens, but I keep it low anyway because it buffets less like this, and it flows more air. But the bodywork too also funnels more wind past my torso than the old 1290. Plus, KTM put heat guards under the seat, so the header pipe only cooks my ass medium rare rather than the medium well that the 1290 was. And despite being pure hellfire, the engine somehow keeps its heat to itself. Long story short, this 1290 is objectively cooler than previous versions, at least on a summer's day. Other luxuries include cornering LEDs, which light around the bend when the bike feels itself leaning. They're not as punctual as you might expect. Initiate a turn and you'll notice the beam catching up a second later. But hey, I mean, the things are brighter than the sun. Only touring letdown is the throttle-by-wire return spring. It's too stiff, and so it makes my wrist tired after a while. That and the 23-liter tank, which wouldn't be big enough for a bike half this powerful. I've been getting an annoyingly short 250 kilometers before I hit the 3.5-liter reserve.
Enough petty criticism. Transformer, roll out.
You look exactly the same. Ooh.
Are easy to take for granted. Like getting away from the kids for grown-up time.
Right.
No. Really? I hope he got some good money.
This is a different machine. Limited to 100 horsepower, it is worlds more manageable. Off-road mode also numbs the throttle response, so I think 100 grams switch. Artificial intelligence runs tracking. It gives me the full cocky roost when upright, but it wants to digitally govern the power in a turn. I'm supposed to just slam the throttle and let the bike steer with the engine. That feels very wrong to a practiced wrist. But don't try to outsmart the machine, because if you modulate the throttle yourself, the traction control just gets pissed and understeers into a ditch. Off-road ABS is brilliant though. It unlinks the front and rear actuators, keeping a tight leash on the former while letting you lock up the latter. The electronic slipper clutch is also very robotic. It measures rear wheel speed to detect chatter and it is creepily effective. I can bomb a downshift on a slippery surface and get nothing, which is both amazing and a little bit unnerving when you're counting on backing the rear. Riding the 1290 fast off-road isn't about trusting my skill. It's about trusting the computer system and that's a weird way to ride a motorcycle. To be honest, the 1290 feels exactly like what it is. A big luxury motorcycle that's been whipped and tortured into good dirt behavior. It's unnatural and a little bit sad, like a caged lion. You know what? Screw that. And the SAR can turn everything off on the fly. Give me 160 horsepower, no rider aids,